Welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show, everybody. And wow, what a result that was last week. For all of us hoping to see a Pac-12 team in the CFP, obviously that's probably not going to happen, but hats off to Utah. They played a phenomenal game. And yeah, welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show, everybody. Excited to be back here a couple days before Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. If not, happy holidays, but very excited. For those of you who do not know me by now, my name is Nick Bartlett, and I'm the broadcast manager here at Sports Pac-12, as well as a senior writer here at Sports Pac-12. I'm also a staff writer at OregonSportsNews.com, and I've had my articles featured on Go Local PDX, the Seattle PI blogspot, and a lot of other publications as well. On the agenda today, wow, again, just what a shock it was last week. So we're going to actually start there. I'm going to recap kind of what I think happened to Oregon. I do want to give Utah a lot of love. I mean, they played phenomenal. But again, really kind of look at what happened to Oregon and what we can take away from their performance last week. After that, it's the usual rundown of things. Pretty much the same thing as usual, guys. We're going to do our quick previews. And as always, we'll end the show with Bartlett's random topic of the day. Dun dun dun. So thank you guys seriously for tuning in as always. I'm very excited to do the show this week. And yeah, let's get to it. Let's see if I got the notes. Do I even have notes today? Guys, I looked down. I left click. I thought about it. I was on point, baby. The left click. It may be a good day. So anyways, looking at Oregon and Utah, my first real concern is going to be the play of Anthony Brown. He missed just so many easy throws, and this is the thing. When you're looking to win a national championship, you can't be missing these throws, just whether it's a weird, like, call at the line of scrimmage or just missing a slant. These come back to bite you, and particularly in a hostile road environment like Utah, or if you're playing, obviously, if Oregon was going to be playing in the CFP, it would have came back to hurt them there. But Anthony Brown clearly showed he has his moments of greatness. We'll get to that, obviously. But he showed a lack of consistency over the last 3 weeks. I believe there was a stat I had a couple weeks ago where he basically has been, I don't have the stat pulled up this week. Essentially, for lack of better terms, he's really performing well against the bad teams and doing pretty bad to mediocre against not great defenses, but good teams and good defenses. And he is still performing poorly. And I think this trend continued. And again, just this lack of consistency. He is clearly not a Marcus Mariota, Andrew Luck type quarterback. Anthony Brown, again, has his highs and lows. But one of the biggest thing at the quarterback positions, particularly at this level, is consistency. You're going to find consistency at the NFL. That's a tricky word to say like 14 times in a row. But you're going to find consistency at the NFL. That's just required. But the college level needs to be developed sometimes. And I don't know if Anthony Brown can develop it. Obviously, I believe it's his last year. So yeah, I just wanted to see more from him in that type of outing. I think that's going to fall on the quarterback in that situation. And going forward, that was just tough. Really tough and not a good performance from him. One of his worst. I wanted to say it pretty plain and clear. Second note I have is I don't want to take away anything away from Joe Moorhead. I just feel personally that it is a gimmicky offense, and I'm not saying it doesn't work and he's not a phenomenal offensive coordinator. I understand this is the college game, but it felt like Utah really NFL'd them. They just kind of, changed line of scrimmage, multiple tight ends, ran the ball, kind of more stereotypical counters and draws and things like that. Just more stereotypical football, and I felt like Oregon's weird, whatever they do, RPO stuff, it didn't really look good. And even it's looked like that at times this year. Like Anthony Brown will make like a really nice play rolling out 45-yard touchdown pass to Devin Williams or something along those lines. I mean, maybe the only last receiver left there in Eugene, but it's just it hasn't looked consistent. Oh my goodness, that word again. It hasn't looked smooth. That's the word I'm looking for. It hasn't looked smooth. It's looked herky jerky. And again, the big plays have came. You have to look at Anthony Brown's just natural athleticism as well as Oregon in general, just loaded with talent. But it just hasn't been good enough, and I think it showed in Salt Lake City. And again, I still think Joe Moorhead's a phenomenal offensive coordinator. I'd like to start with the negative first, and I think that it showed when he was out against against the Cardinal earlier this year. What really happens when he's missing? And these Ducks are really a different team. But again, I would just like to see maybe more of an NFL style offense. I understand this is the college game, and these gimmicky things do take teams far. I mean, teams win national championships with these style of offenses, but I think there is also a time and place for throwing a little bit of NFL style offense. Not saying that Moorhead hasn't done it, I just didn't necessarily see it last week, and it may be easy to call him out after Brown's poor performance. So I think that's fair to acknowledge. And this is kind of a bonus point, just kind of flashed in my head here. I also want to point it out, I love Travis Dye. He's a workhorse. I think he's phenomenal. But I think I really realized in that last game that he's not CJ Verdell. It's very apparent. I think maybe the gap, I thought it was a little bit closer. I think didn't maybe realize how athletic CJ Verdell was. And the reason I say this is there was a play where Dye just got blown up by a Utah linebacker, just like physically outmatched. It's probably Devin Lloyd. And that was really really indicative of, wow, like Travis Dye is a phenomenal dual threat option. I mean, the way he catches passes and things like that out of the backfield. But again, he got blown up, and I don't think that would have happened to CJ Verdell. There's a time and a place, but it looked like basically a major conference player versus a kind of small conference player, and you don't want to say that often about Travis Dye. He's going to get the best out of most teams and most players, but it was just it was notable. It was something I noticed, and he's clearly not CJ Verdell on the athletic front, and I think that's fair to say. Guys, I think my head's been cut off half this episode, but I'm still rolling with it. How long did I talk, guys? Oh, for those of you who don't know the gist, only 6 minutes. Good job. For those of you guys who don't know the gist by now, I try and get you out in 25 minutes. I'll let you back up. I almost just fell off my chair, guys. Let's try and be smooth about that. But I try and get you in and out of the show 25 minutes or less. I don't know if I've ever actually accomplished that. It's usually 26 or 27 minutes. But I respect that you guys got live. You guys have heard the spiel. I just respect time. So I'm not here to waste your time and give you a lot of cool information as quick as possible. That's my thing here. So coming up next, oh, the last thing I did want to say about Oregon is sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw. Plain and simple, that Utah team was probably not going to lose that day. It probably didn't really matter who was going to walk in that stadium unless it was maybe Georgia or something like that. But you could tell they're playing for their two fallen brothers, and it was very obvious they were playing for something more. I don't know if there's a spiritual connection, not trying to get too deep, but they were playing on such a different level. Everything was so clean, so precise. Everyone got involved, and it was just perfect. You don't have ball games like that very often. It was literally probably the perfect football game if you want to break it down. In every facet, you had Cameron Rising do just enough through the air, able to get Brant Keithy involved, which was nice to see. I love Keithy, hard-nosed football player. You were able to get Britton Covey involved just enough. Obviously, it had that remarkable front return at the end of the half. And Utah is obviously, I think the term that everyone's using is peaking at the right time. Almost swore, forget cliches. We'll just say they're climbing the mountain with an ice pick or something. I have no idea if that made sense, but they're really looking solid. I still don't know if they're as talented as Oregon. I think that was just one of those time and place moments. But again, Oregon just ran into a buzzsaw at that moment. And can't believe Covey really took it back at the end of the half. Come on. That we all knew it was over at that point. That was the sign. That was the sign. Sorry, guys. I got to grab a tissue. Sorry for the lack of professionalism. I'm not going to make a joke. It's too easy. We got to do it today. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so one more. So the 3 points, again, I want to make about Oregon here, again, is that Anthony Brown just, his consistency lacked this year, and he missed some big throws in that game. 2, I'd like to see maybe more NFL style, a little more Utah-esque style, Oregon State style offense implemented for the Ducks and Joe Moorhead. Love what they're doing, opening up the field, but there is a time and place for just simple football. And 3rd, sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw. Playing a simple Utah was, they were nasty that day. They were nasty. One team represented the Pac-12 last Saturday. That's for sure. Next up, what do I got? Oh, the quick previews. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on that Oregon-Utah matchup. I think that about covers it, but that obviously was the game of the year. So it's kind of, instead of our normal game of the week, is almost a quick look back. And I'll probably do a tiny bit deeper of dives in the quick previews this week to give you a little more information. They'll still be quick and precise for most of them, but for one or two games that may be notable, I'll see what I can do. So first off, we have Colorado at Utah. Utah's sticking with the theme. Yeah, so Utah's victory against Oregon last weekend. Blah blah blah. Essentially, they dominated. Speaks for itself. But again, I think I actually miswrote that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, essentially, bottom line is I want to say that Colorado has improved tenfold. I was hating on Brendan Lewis really hard this year, rightfully so. And he's grown, and I think that win against Washington speaks volumes. I mean, that was one of my most surprising results of the year last year. I don't know if that's more indicative of Colorado or the Huskies, but it's indicative of something. So I do want to acknowledge, since this is like the final full week of games, and that's why I want to maybe spend a little bit more time, that Colorado's improved a lot this year. A lot, and they could have folded, and that's kudos to Cardarell, kudos to Brandon Lewis. He's probably going to tear it up as he gets older. If he watches the show, he probably hates me. It's all good, man. I'm doing my job, you do your job, but you've improved, mad respect, and I believe they're still going to have a couple young weapons next year returning at wideout and things like that. So Colorado should have better days. But in terms of this matchup, Utah is just too strong. Maybe a little bit of a letdown performance, but it's hard to have a letdown against a rival. And I think I bet against Kyle Whittingham for the last time last week. Probably not, honestly. But I'm not going to pick against Utah this week. Utah is just too talented. And based off last week's performance, I think it's pretty obvious how good they are. I think I picked them 31-14. Yeah, 31-14 Utes. Next game we got is the Apple Cup, my alma mater versus the city I was born and raised in. And yeah, essentially for Washington, I just want to say, again, heading back with that Colorado loss last week, man, like, I'm just a big believer in talent. Like, at the college level, talent is so big and recruiting so big, and it's so cool because you can just go reach recruits everywhere, and it's just cool to see. I mean, WCU basketball, I got to give my plug right there, has like guys from Africa, so you got to love that about the recruiting game. So I'm a big believer in talent, but the Huskies' talent truly never developed or gelled this year. It wasn't a cohesive unit, whether it's Jimmy Lake not doing his job or something along the lines of the players. I think Dylan Morris is vastly underperformed, probably should have given Sam Hewitt the rock at the beginning of the year. I was a big Dylan Morris supporter. By the end of the year, though, these things do slowly change. So I still think UW is very talented, but after they lost to Colorado last week, I'm actually going to have to pick the Cougs. I think the Cougs have enough with Jaden Delore. Forgetting the receiver's name. This is my alma mater. I'm forgetting the receivers. Calvin Jackson Jr. and Travell Harris. And I just think that this feels like the year. It feels like the year WSU's situation is maybe a little bit more stable after the whole thing with Rolo. It just feels like the year. And I believe it's been 8 seasons. Has it been 8 seasons since the Cougs beat the Huskies? Yeah, 8 seasons. And my quick little line I wrote was that if the Cougs can't get this done against the Dogs this year, they should just succeed Pullman and move to Seattle. So picking the Cougs, and I believe I picked it 28-21. 31-24 WSU. 31-24 WSU. Next game I got is Oregon State at Oregon. And I have talked about Oregon enough today, so I don't want to do that anymore. I think that we all saw happen last week. For the Beavers, I'm going to start there and give them some shine. This is a team, a lot of people maybe think I'm down on them and probably will again. They have really played well. I was really shocked with their performance against ASU last week. Not as shocked as Colorado and UW. But Oregon State beating ASU spoke volumes to me. Really a testament to Jonathan Smith's program. And they're going back to bowl. And that Arizona State game, that was big. That's a game that OSU definitely would have lost in previous seasons. So to see them, get that victory after dark setting was really cool. In regards to this game, the rivalry game, whatever you want to call it, no-name rivalry game number 2 or something along those lines. I believe I saw that on Twitter. They're just in a tough situation for 2 reasons. One, their marvelous victory over the Ducks last year, where if you are from Oregon, you didn't forget, but if you're from another part of the conference, essentially the Tristan Gebbia, who is Oregon State's quarterback, played a really good game. He got injured like the very end, like the 1 or 2 yard line, and they put in current OSU starter Chance Nolan, who I believe snuck the ball in the end zone as time expired, is either third or fourth down or something very close along those lines. So I just think that Oregon's not going to let that happen 2 years in a row. Highly unlikely. They're not sneaking up on anyone. I do think Oregon State's clearly improved with their victory over ASU. That again, that was big. That was big. I can't. That really shocked me. And so yeah, for the Ducks, just they got slapped in the face last week, and it's not going to happen again. They're going to beat their rival. They're going to get themselves to the Pac-12 championship game. They know what's on the line, and they're not going to play. So Oregon Ducks, and I picked them 31-21. Next on our agenda, speaking of those Sun Devils, that was like the weirdest transition. Sometimes it just happens, guys. Sometimes things just happen. How long have I been talking for? How long are we on the show? Oh, 15 minutes. We're doing pretty good on time today, guys. You know, I always say that, and it always goes 26 minutes. All right, so we're getting on our mid little holiday spiel here. We're getting on our holiday spiel. Let's finish with the notes. Want to give each team some love here, seriously. So next on the agenda, Arizona State. I think that Arizona is another one of those teams like Colorado. Essentially, they've really improved. Will Plummer's maybe not taken as big of a step as Brendan Lewis, but he's just a fighter. He's a competitor, and I believe that could be a testament to his head coach, Ed Fish. Another one of those teams that didn't quit, and I'm big on that. I'm really big on teams competing. It's okay if you lose almost every game, but just competing every once in a while, I think it makes it funner for everyone, for both teams, really. May not be like super close to the end, but just competing for 2 or 3 quarters at least, you know? And I believe that Jed Fish has now really built that into his program by the end of the year. And you saw that against Utah. Was that 2 weeks ago? So really, Arizona's taking leaps and bounds. Obviously, from a talent standpoint, they're way worse than ASU. ASU probably going to win this game 99.9% of the time. And so I think my pick is going to be upset, baby. Upset, baby. I'm going with the Arizona Wildcats. This is it's the last week of the year. It's rivalry week. I'm having fun. I love rivalry week. This is the good stuff. And this is probably the one time I'm picking from my emotions and not logic. I know you guys maybe don't believe that, but I'm going with Arizona. Why not? Just why not? Why not? Go Cats. I don't like the cheating stuff in the offseason. Go Cats. And I believe I picked them by 1 point because I can't pick them by more than that. And I think it was 24-23. Next game we got a lot of games this week. Forgot about that. We got like 7. Next game we got is Notre Dame at Stanford. I'll just read the note. I don't really want to waste your guys' time with this. Stanford, I don't want to beat up on the Cardinal right now. They're really bad. And, tough fall for David Shaw in that program because thinking just back even 3 or 4 years or something different. So you guys know what happened if you follow the Pac-12 closely, and it's gotten bad. So essentially the one note I did want to say is you got Notre Dame as a top 10 team with that outside shot at making the college football playoff. Stanford is a squad who's lost their last 3 contests by 21 points or more. And maybe I'll read this line. If the Cardinal would like to compete, they may consider giving Jim Plunkett a call. I heard he still lives in the Bay. Yeah. I believe he lives in San Jose. I looked that one up on like Google or Wikipedia or something. So yeah, maybe not Wikipedia. Don't quote me on Plunkett, like that pointer, baby. So essentially, yeah, Fighting Irish by a lot. Notre Dame 41-14, and yeah, I'm not gonna give you more analysis on this. Notre Dame's too good. Stanford's too bad. This one should be a really easy blowout. Next game we got is Cal at UCLA. And this is one of those games I'm pretty excited about. Last after dark game of the year. And for Cal, they're still playing for something. This is one of those games that I actually find really exciting, kind of stylistic matchup. Because for both teams are really playing for something. I'm going to start with Cal because the LA areas usually get more shine. And it's the last show of the year. Why not? Not the last show of the year. Last full season of, what I'm trying to say. Last week. So with Cal and UCLA, just like, I think that for Cal, they have a chance to make a bowl game. And with USC playing down, if they can get through the Bruins this week, even with all the COVID stuff, they have a chance. And they have a phenomenal quarterback. I think Chase Garbers is probably a higher level NFL prospect than DTR. The college game, DTR's athleticism is too much. But in regards to just making better throws on consistent information with absolutely no talent, Chase Garbers is better. I mean, when you're able to move the ball with literally no real threats at wideout, I mean, I know a couple of guys are putting up stats like Koa Crawford and stuff, but I mean, most of these, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't need to beat up on them either. We're not going to beat up on the base schools today, but you guys know what I'm saying. He doesn't have a lot around him. Christopher Brooks is solid, but it feels like he may be more focused on his career path than football his senior year. Besides for moments, nothing wrong with that. Go make your money, young man. Smart decision. But that's why I really think that Chase Garbers is all alone, and I think that I mean it's possible. It is very possible that they make a bowl game this year. Just got to get through UCLA this week. And for the Bruins, on the other hand, what we have here is it's a more important game than it looks like for Chip Kelly, because if he finishes 8-4 this year, then that looks pretty good. And you can stand on that. You can move forward without too much noise. And obviously, you really shouldn't have much. But if you fall back to 7-5, it's not the same thing anymore. It doesn't look quite as good, quite as pristine. And you may have, I believe I had it in my notes, Power 5 on the microwave oven is how I had that written. And yeah, there's still going to be a little noise if they finish 7-5. Again, particularly with that 7-5 start. And you didn't really compete in the South down the stretch. I mean, it was either Utah or ASU for a while here. So 7-5 not competing in the division doesn't look that good. 8-4 not competing in the division, it's enough. It's enough to buy him another year. So I think this is a very important game. See if I got anything else in the notes here. Yeah, no. Essentially, did want to say this would actually be Cal's third straight bowl appearance if they could pull this off, discluding the COVID 2020 season. So Justin Wilcox and that program has come a long way. But ultimately, I believe I picked UCLA. Did I? Yeah. UCLA 34-24. They're just too talented. As I was telling you, Chase Garbers can't do it alone. Really doesn't have a lot around him. And I think UCLA's offense is just too talented at the college level. DTR is such a beast. He's jumping over people against USC last week, making deep throws down the field and just tearing up the game. So can't pick against DTR and the Bruins this week. 34-24 UCLA. Last game I got is BYU at USC. And I actually forgot about it. And the right-clicking returns, guys. But yeah, so this is going to be the last quick preview of a full week slate of games or whatever I just said there. And for BYU, they've already gone 4-0 against our conference this year, guys. I believe they beat Arizona, Arizona State, UW, and WSU, and Utah. USC, come on. BYU's good. Just step your game up. And I'm not going to claim here I'm a Pac-12 guy. I haven't watched any BYU football. I'll be lying. I've previewed some, interviewed some guys in the offseason. But yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of Pac-12 football, and I just think that USC is talented enough to get this done. I don't care how bad they've played. I know the coach is getting fired. They need someone new. They need something. But I think they find a way to win this. They're not playing a Pac-12 team. The talent level is a lot less. And I just think that BYU may not be as good as people think. Not saying they're not, but I think USC gets this one. Not really sure how. Not really sure why logically. But I do think that USC finds a way. Send Dante Williams out on the right note, because you know he ain't coming back. He's out there with Clay Helton. Maybe they should go grab a brewski together or something. So again, picking USC, and I'm picking them 28-21. Oh, one little quick line I do want to throw in there. If BYU wins this and goes 5-0 against the Pac, I might have to start respecting mid-majors a little bit more, tiny. So yeah, that's gonna do it for our previews. That was fun. I really liked getting the extra time this week. Oh yeah, of course we're 24 minutes away. I'll get you out of here in less than 30 minutes, guys. Yeah, but I enjoyed the extra time with all the teams. Most of these teams aren't going to be returning for the rest of the year, so I just really wanted to give a little bit more insight than we may usually do. As you saw, kind of the usual rundown of things, just a little twinge. But now it's time for Bartlett's random topic of the day. Bartlett's random topic of the day. And guys, I just want to say that I'm generally grateful for the show, for all you guys' support and viewership. When I ask for mailbag questions, which may still be a feature. I got some really good ones, by the way, guys. But it's really cool to just see your guys' opinions reaching out to me, whether it's negative or positive. It's a lot of fun, and I'm just grateful to do this. I think that we always talk about grateful for family. I'm obviously grateful for that. Grateful for food, shelter, all that stuff. Obviously, I'm grateful for that. But just little things like being able to do the show. My camera's working. My mic is working. My stool is not broken. I haven't fallen out of the stool. I've only had to blow my nose one time during the show. And it's been, just all these cool little things that you can be grateful for. You know what I'm saying? And you guys make this a lot of fun. Seriously, when you guys reach out, just your comments, whether they may not be nice, some of you may think I'm crazy. I may be, but it is all because of you guys. Obviously, I make a product that I enjoy. I do my best to make a product I enjoy, and I think most people should do that. This may sound harsh. Still love you guys. I know you're supposed to start with negativity first, so don't all abandon me, guys. Don't all abandon me. I broke the code. You're supposed to start with negativity first. But ultimately, I do, make the show just to my liking, to the best of my ability. But I'd strongly prefer that you guys like it and get some knowledge and some laughs out of it. Obviously, this is a Pac-12 football show, so I want you to get a lot of knowledge with my randomness, which usually isn't scripted at all. I really do a lot of research and maybe get the extra stat or two for you guys because I personally am probably not the biggest stat guy. So I really appreciate everything you guys have done for me, just launching me to this platform already. Again, 2 or 3 years ago, I was in an entirely different situation in the sports broadcast journalism industry. So it's really cool where you guys have taken me because as everyone says, this is the one cliche I can't break. You guys know me. I think of random cliches. I just say stuff that doesn't make sense. But you really can't make it without you guys. We're not on the radio. We're not through that multimedia platform, through YouTube, through Twitter, through all those sorts of things. This is how I make it, and it's you guys doing it. So thank you guys for your support. Truly grateful. Truly grateful. Was really excited to make the show today. And I think that's going to conclude and summarize today's show because I don't want to keep you longer than 30. That's breaking code, dog. That's breaking code. We can't be doing that. Let's see how long we're at. One more right click for fun. 27 minutes? Cool. All right, so, concluding and summarizing today's show, we talked about exactly what happened to Oregon last week. And essentially, I think Anthony Brown needs to play better, be more consistent. I believe that... what was my second point, guys? There was a second point. Who cares, guys? We're at the end of the week. I don't know if the second point's coming to me right now. Oh, yeah, it is. So, first point, Anthony Brown needs to play better. Second point, Joe Moorhead, I'd like to see maybe utilize a little bit more NFL-style offense. I think he's still a phenomenal offense coordinator, but maybe a little bit more. Felt like Kyle Whittingham and whoever the OC is over in Utah may have just taken it to another level and really, showed Oregon what could be possible. What could be possible. Again, don't entirely count the RPO stuff. But this is conclusion, so enough of that. Essentially, and then after that, I just said that Oregon ran into a buzzsaw. So 3 things, because I just rambled there. Anthony Brown, play better. Joe Moorhead, throwing a little more NFL stuff. And third off, they ran into buzzsaw. We followed that with quick previews where I gave a little bit of a deeper dive than usual last week of the season for a lot of teams out here. So I wanted to give those teams, those programs who may have not had a bunch of success some shine. And then for Bartlett's random topic of the day, I just want to say thank you guys for all you have seriously done for me, launching me this far on this platform. Really grateful to be doing this show. Really excited for the holidays. I got a break because I work for a school district. I'm very, very excited for the break. I'm excited to go make some dinner after this. So, guys, seriously, enjoy Rivalry Week. It doesn't get much better. Weird things happen. Go Cougs. Go Cougs. I had to say it. Beat the Dogs. First time in 8 years. And I'm out. Seriously, this has been a Sports Pac-12 original. Don't forget it. This is the Nick Bartlett Show. And for those of you who do not know by now, olive oil and hummus.